Hey, Hickok 45. No, this is not something I borrowed off the set from James Cameron, Avatar 2 or something. This is actually a real gun, believe it or not. It's from the Utash, a huge Turkey firearms design company. And it's the, what is it called? The UTS-15. The UTS-15 is a shotgun, believe it or not. Yes, and it holds a lot of rounds. We were fortunate enough that a local gun shop, the Nashville gun shop by name specifically, lent this to us for a couple of days to play with, and we're very grateful to Demir and Mustafa, great fellas, and they're from Turkey, believe it or not. So I think they have an inside track somehow there. You know, they won't tell us the secret, but anyway, they lent us this gun for a couple of days to see what we think of it, and we're going to do just that. Okay, so we're going to put another round in to make sure it's topped off, fully loaded, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to put my ears on because I have fired a 12 gauge before, and they do make a little noise. So let's rack one in, and whoops, let's grab another one and put it in and rack it in. That's what I get for not putting it in immediately, right? All right, good thing I'm not in battle, huh? Well, let's just take a couple. Oh, let's take one right here close. I probably can't hit those. Actually, I did, didn't I? Let's try a pot, flower pot. Whoa! Oh, I didn't mean to shake the other one off. Let's try a 2-liter. Hey, short work of that, didn't it? Let's try another 2-liter. Nice. Let's walk on down the range a little bit. I want to show you something. This has an alternating feed capability, and I'm going to show you that. See if it works here. We're going to shoot these different black targets across the bottom there. I don't think I racked one in, did I? No, I didn't. Okay. We'll shoot the big one there. Huh, interesting. You know what? Try to get away. Let's back up a little bit, and I'll show you what I was trying to show you. I'm going to shoot the tombstone. Okay, that's obviously bird shot, right? Let's shoot it again. There you go. You see the difference in the pattern and everything. Now we've got another bird shot. I'm going to hit the cowboy. Now we should have double-aught buck. I'm going to back up some more, and I'm going to shoot that tall black target to the left of the tombstone. There you go. You can see the tighter pattern. Okay, so what we were doing there was alternating, and the difference was not as obvious as I thought it might be. If we had backed up some more, it would have been, I guess. But it alternates. It'll pull a round from this magazine and then this magazine, just back and forth until it's empty. And I don't think it is empty. No, we got one more, so let's shoot that one. Oh, how about a soft drink? It is empty. I had the switch here, kind of a selector switch. This, no, not full auto, unfortunately. If you put it over that way, it cuts off this magazine. And if you put it over there, guess which magazine it cuts off, boys and girls? Yes, the one on the right. In the center, it alternates between the two magazines. You got 7 rounds in each magazine. What I had was there I had loaded double-aught buck in the right magazine, and I had birdshot in the left. And that's what I was doing. I thought it'd be more obvious, but if I'd put slugs in one, it would have, wouldn't it? Okay. So anyway, what we have here, let you take a look at it, and then we'll load her back up, is again the UTS-15. It's it's pretty futuristic looking, isn't it? You never know what you're going to see at the compound. You know, it's hard to find a firearm I don't like, at least on some level. The thing is very ugly, isn't it? Sometimes the ugliest guns can be the most functional, and sometimes they can be trash. It just depends. So we'll see. We've shot this. We've shot quite a few rounds through it. The only issue I've had so far is I short shucked it a time or two. With a bullpup design such as this, you have to be careful with that because you know, it's easy to short shuck. And this is kind of the product of, and again, I'm not an expert on anything, am I? But as I understand, I think it was Smith & Wesson, but a major firearms company asked Utosh to, I think it was Utosh USA, because the guy who designed this is an American and working for Utosh, which is a major firearms design company in Turkey. They wanted a police. They wanted the ultimate police shotgun, as I understand. Something that would hold at least 13 rounds. It'd be under 30 inches, 12 gauge, slide action, pump gun, and very, very light. Something light, and that's what you've got here. This is a very light gun, a very small gun, and it's a slide action for sure. So that's what they came up with, and I don't know how many police are using it yet. It was just introduced at the NRA convention back in St. Louis in the spring, and John and I were there. We didn't remember seeing it, but I mean, we would have remembered. We just didn't see it or pay any attention to it. A lot of guns introduced there, and a lot of different firearms, of course, that are being promoted. But it's it's 6.9 pounds, and it's 28 inches long. In the configuration that you see, there's a longer barrel available and some things like that. So, and it's very light. I mean, it just doesn't weigh anything. It's 12 gauge. It's supposed to be 85% polymer, like carbon fiber. It's the highest tech carbon fiber or polymer out there that was designed by some of the people who in the aerospace industry that provide a lot of those kinds of materials. So it is very, very, very high tech. Now I know I've got an ugly rubber pad on the back to give me just a little more length because it is that bullpup design, and I mean it's short. You can tell. Without that, I can shoot it, but it's just no fun. It's just not as much fun. So sorry, there I am again, putting a little length on there. So let me quickly show you the simplicity of it. Okay, we're clear. There's nothing in there, nothing in the magazines. You release the slide right there with this little button. Okay, we're definitely clear. So you just take off this is kind of the barrel retainer nut up here, unscrew that. Let me put it down here on the table. It's easier for y'all to see. I'm in the focus and help the camera out there. Okay, it's almost like taking the end off a magazine, isn't it? But that's not the magazine. Magazines are on top of the barrel. It sets this apart, makes it a little different. You lift up this. There you go. Get you into the bolt and the receiver there in action. And you just slide that off. And then the slide comes out with the bolt. So pretty easy to clean. And that's it. Now you got to take these little half moon clips off, 2 or 3 of these, and punch a pin out in order to get the trigger assembly out and work on it. And it doesn't look all that difficult, but I don't expect I have a need to do that. I'm not going to do it now. And it's that part right there is all, that's carbon fiber or that high-tech polymer that they talk about. So in the bolt, reminds me of a H&K, the bolt from my Super 90 in a way. It's spring loaded there, but it is a pump action gun, so it doesn't operate the same way as that gun does it? Okay, yeah, I just about fooled myself. I had it upside down. I wondered why it didn't look like it was on. Okay, there we go. All right, then you just slide that back in. Oops, gotta get the front going in the groove. Okay, and then I learned that slide needs to be about right there, ideally. Slip this back on. Now, while I have this off, and of course you can see through the barrel, and we're of course totally safe. Give you maybe a closer look. This might be a good time to do that too. You can see how the spring there in the magazine is. You can see, and you've got an indicator there how many rounds you have left. You can see them. It's like an old Henry rifle, a real Henry rifle, where you could actually see the rounds. Which is not necessarily the best design because in the later lever guns, they close that in to keep the dirt out. But that way you can see that. So those are the magazines right there on top. One of the things they talk about is in their promotional literature, of course, is the fact you got your rounds on top. That's where your weight is, and your barrel, underneath there. So that helps hold it down, and the barrel being lower puts it all in a straight line, so all the recoil is coming directly back into your shoulder, and you don't get as much muzzle rise. And I guess that's true. It does kick a little bit. It's so light. And there is some steel. Look at that, the barrel. There's a little bit of metal somewhere, huh? and some of those bolts look like they're metal, but it's mostly polymer. That's one reason it's so, well, the reason it's so light. Figured that one out, didn't I? All right, see if I can get this back on. Yeah, even I can do that. Put the nut back on. The nut's putting the nut back on, and we'll be able actually to shoot this again. Now, if this isn't the most beautiful firearm you've ever seen, I don't know what's wrong with you. You know, I just don't know. You guys that shoot skeet, you got your $30,000 Krieghoff or your expensive Brownings or whatever you have, you know, you'll be trading them tomorrow for one of these, won't you? In fact, I'm glad I mentioned that. Glad you reminded me. It has a threaded, this is a choke in it right here now. It's a cylinder choke, which I could take out. I'm not going to. I had it out earlier. And as I understand, you can take that out and actually screw in another barrel extension to go shoot skeet with it. Get it out to whatever, 26, 28 inches. I don't know how long that is, but it's available. And so you could be at your local trap shoot with one of these and maybe a 30-inch barrel. You know, pull! People might give you a funny look, right? But that's available. And what else? Oh yeah, this little button here, this gun's not equipped with it yet. It's either out there now or it's available or going to be, but that's for a laser or flashlight built in. That's available, so you just be able to reach up and pop your laser toggle, I guess, between laser and flashlight and off. So they tried to think of everything, and you can see it even tells you the magazine capacity of both of your magazines. 2 3/4 shells, it'll hold 7, 6 or 3-inch shells, and both magazines are the same. Now look at this loading. This is man, we're not in Kansas anymore, I tell you. Okay, let's do something a little different this time. I'll tell you how we'll illustrate the difference. We'll put some birdshot in one. You have to, when you open it up, you push this up, and then you just put the rounds in. I'm not doing anything wrong here. Okay, make sure unfamiliar firearm. We'll put just birdshot in this left magazine. And of course you can see, I can't see, let's take my face over there, we go. And then that's a 6. And then the 7th one, you just drop in there. And then when you close this up, boom, okay, it's ready to go. And it's not hot or anything, there's nothing, you know, the action's open. So you push this plunger forward, or the magazine tube. All right, slugs, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment. Okay, let's put slugs in here. Yeah, the fact that it alternates, I thought was interesting, and it actually does. It seems to work. I don't know much about, I've never had the Kel-Tec KSG, which is kind of, you know, along the same lines as this in a lot of ways. And you may have one, and you'll be able to point out some differences, advantages to this one and disadvantages. As I understand with it, when you run one magazine dry, you've got to flip a switch to get to the other one. Come on now. These are actually longer, I guess. They may not hold. Yeah, it's not going to hold, they're just long enough, I guess. It's not going to hold 7. Unless that's just me being a weak baby. Not going to quite click in. Okay. So that's okay. Let's leave it right there. Because what we would have done with the last one is pop him right there. So those are supposed to be 2 3/4, but they must be just enough longer. Yeah, they're enough longer. By the time you get 6 or 7, you know, you end up with enough to make a difference there. So we learned something. So with those slugs, there we go. We've got 6 of those. Says 2 3/4, but 2 3/4 can be more than 2 3/4 sometimes, can't it? Okay. I know that from reloading shotgun shells. Sometimes, depending on how you crimp them, they can vary a little bit. Now, we pop one in here to get our, well, in this case, be our 14th round. Instead of, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Just to make up for that, we'll make our 15th round a slug. Okay. So at least we'll have 7 and 7. Okay. Now, let's take a few shots. All right. Now, as I said, we could shut off all the birdshot if we wanted and just shoot slugs. And, well, why don't we, well, now it's kind of late to do that. It looks like I've got that crammed full. I guess you need to do that before or after you've fired. And it goes that way, all right. Yeah, I see a round right there. It's got pressure on it. So let's just shoot alternately and see what we get. Okay, safety off. Now we know we got a slug up first. So let's just see if we can throw one out the gong. I just put these sights on this morning. I don't know where they are exactly. I think they're close maybe. Alright. Now we have, of course you can see, eyeball what you got. It's right there by your eyeball. Let's shoot something with birdshot, a soft drink. Oh, there we go. We got a big high brass slug. We're alternating. Go back to the gong. All right. Birdshot. I guess that was a slug. We'll see. All right. Birdshot. There's a soft drink. Variety is the spice of life. You know, yeah. Back to the gong. Oh, let's see if we can hit a ram. Let's go under it. Who wants to get shot here? How about try a ram again? Oh, wow. I shouldn't have shot a slug at that plate that quick. I wasn't thinking there. Okay, well, I mean, it's okay, but, you know, slugs are soft lid, but still. Okay, I wouldn't normally do that. Ah, interesting, interesting. Okay, so now that flips over. That's something to remember, something we've learned there. If you got it packed and you've got a round already pushing back into the receiver there, that you need to take the pressure off to switch that, unless it was just something I was doing there. So we're just learning how this thing works. Pretty interesting gun. What do we want to shoot next? I know what we need to do. Let's do a little bit of both, because I see a couple of targets here I want to make sure we have a slug for. But let's put the big stuff in. Double-aught buck. This is Federal 12 gauge. Okay, put some of that in this left magazine. Yeah, like I said, you can get a longer barrel extension for this. You can also get a muzzle brake that fits on it screws into the end. I've seen those on some of them. Let's see. These run about $1,200, I think, something like that. 13. Just depends on availability. Now we're going to run to the same thing with these, I guess. Yeah, those are just a little bit longer. Okay, so we'll close that up. He's ready. Got some double-aught buck, and these slugs are kind of fun. I guess. Yeah, we want to shoot some slugs. Okay. And get 6 or 7 in. How's this for strange, though? This is a pretty unusual design. Of course, everything is very unusual and odd looking at first, isn't it? I remember when I saw my first Glock, it almost made me throw up. Some of them might still, they still make some people throw up, don't they? Okay, so that's loaded. Now we're only getting, 6 in on these longer high brass shells. So what we'll do is put a, okay, double-aught buck. That's good. We're going to alternate again. All right, because I have a couple targets here that need certain kinds of ammo. I think that pot there needs double-aught buck, and that's what he's going to get. Wow, look at the smoke. Do I need to say it? Now we have a slug. We're alternating. How about the propane tank? Now, I don't think there's anything in that propane tank. There hasn't been for many, many, many years. I emptied it and everything else. So. Okay, we're back to a slug. We're alternating. Double-aught buck. There's some pottery left there. Slug. Double-aught buck. I don't think double-aught buck will go through that. Yeah, that was the one load I put on it already. Doesn't quite penetrate it. All right, let's put another one on that propane tank. I'm getting some over here. And you see it going through. All right. It gets a little bit lighter after you get 14 or 15 rounds out of it. Man, that's interesting. Woo! You know, it doesn't kick too badly, to tell you the truth. It does, you know you're shooting a gun because it's not too heavy. We got some cinder blocks down there, so we're going to go all slugs on this last one. We'll load them both up with slugs. So far we're working, looks like. This, tell you what. Now, this gun, one of the disadvantages I know is topping it off is not exactly speedy because you got to open the gate and push the shell out of the way and put another one up in there. So that's be one of the disadvantages of this firearm. Well, somebody knows a quicker way to do it, but there's that's just the way it is. Yeah, won't quite hold as many as we'd like there. That's okay. So if you want to get the optimal number of rounds, you're going to be shooting birdshot or low brass in some form or fashion. Okay. But you know, when you got a firearm that holds 14 or 15 rounds, maybe topping it off and speed loading it and all that kind of thing is not quite as important if 14 or 15 12 gauge rounds will not solve your problem. You might need to be looking at something that's belt fed. Let's get a little bit of rust on it, sorry. You know, definitely. So, oh man, here we go. Devastation. Oh, we got to get that last one in. Or did I put it in? No, I didn't. Yeah. Okay. See, I got to think about it. I'm in trouble when I have to think. But I'll tell you what I can do. I'll show you in the interest of education anyway. Let me lay it down and I will top it off. Of course, I'm not sure which side that one came out of, but you can. Probably shouldn't mess around with it very much, actually. Maybe it didn't come out of that side. See if I can tell. Actually, I could just look at the, yeah, it came out over here. Okay. So, there we go. There we go. Okay, I got an extra one in. So you can tell by looking at it, unless you're dumb as I am. You know, I didn't even think to look at the grooves. So, we have all slugs. Well, let's wreak some havoc here. Safety off. We did it. I think that propane tank needs a couple more hits too. I'm going to get down there where I can see it. Yeah, I see a clean side to it. Oh man, that is pretty neat. That is pretty neat. So let me think, is there anything I didn't tell you about this thing that I know about it? The sights come with it, and they're kind of your standard. You get your Picatinny rail there, and you could put other sights on it. These come with it. They don't seem too bad. It's a little hard to get your face down on it, but with those sights up as high as they are, it's doable. Got to watch short shucking it. I didn't do it here in these recent shots, but I did it earlier. You got a little magnetic connection here. That's just a magnet. Interesting, huh? Okay. And got your little hatch you've got to open up, and before you can load it, you got to push the plunger up there, and then you ram in your 6 or 7 rounds there, and you top it off like you saw me do. Put another one in there. That releases it. If you have a problem, lift up on that, clear it, close your back down. It's pretty quick, you know, to get to if you realize what's going on, and just clear it out and then push that back down. It's again, it's what, about 28 inches long, so you know there's just not a lot a lot to carry around. It's just not very heavy. Even loaded, you don't get the feeling you've got a big heavy firearm. 15 rounds. That's a lot of firepower. There's no doubt about it. So, for what it's worth, the UTS-15. Glad we could bring you a look at it and have a day or two here to play with it. And again, we appreciate Demir and Mustafa, lending us this interesting shotgun. Life is good.